In this video, we're going to be reviewing the Jazzwares Vault exclusive 1 of 6,000 AEW Unrivaled Legacy of Sting 3-pack. Now, this pack was revealed to us just a year ago at San Diego Comic-Con 2024, and at the time you're seeing this, it is officially San Diego Comic-Con 2025. Now, this is a set that I've been highly anticipating, been talking about it on the channel for a very long time, and since that render image, they didn't really give us any updates on this pack until it was going up for order. There may have been one update here or there, man, but for the most part, they kept this thing close to the vest and then bam, kind of dropped it on us out of nowhere after seeing those renders a year ago. But after Sting's retirement match at Revolution March 3rd, 2024, they did want to kind of commemorate him here with this beautiful box set, and Sting being one of my favorite characters, wrestlers of all time, man, this is a pack I've been waiting on, so I'm very excited to review it for you today. You have the Legacy of Sting here on the front. This is sold out, I do believe, on Jazzwares Vault, but that is where you can get this, Jazzwares Vault. It is limited to 6,000 pieces, but we do have this giant box set here. You have the Icon Sting in the front, then you have kind of a Surfer Sting on the shoulder, and over the other shoulder you get that WCW classic 90s look of Sting. But man, I am just filled with joy to review this set, man. Been waiting on this one for a very long time. But what's also cool about this packaging is you can turn it to the side here, and you do get some scorpions on this left fold here, and on this right fold it says Legacy of Sting with kind of an updated modern picture. Maybe not super modern, because nowadays, man grew out the beard, he's got the gray hair. He looks kind of crazy. I low-key wish he wrestled that way for a while. But on the top it says Legacy of Sting. You have the Scorpion logos again, and then what's also cool is on the back it does say Legacy of Sting. And then if you want to display this thing like a book in a library, on the other side there's no cut here, but it says Legacy of Sting with a nice shouting image of Sting. So you could put this on a shelf, and I'm definitely holding on to this packaging. I did pick up two different sets, one to keep men in the box and one to unpack, and I may get a future one, you know. I just love Sting, so I want to upgrade that display or whatever. Maybe I'll grab another set at some point, but let's reveal the figures, man. You turn it to the side and open it up, and you can see all of the different figures that you get here. It is a 3-pack. You have 3 different versions of Sting, each with a Scorpion logo from each individual era, which I think is sweet. We're getting 3 different versions of Sting here. You have Surfer/Superstar Sting, at least that's how AEW Jazzwares describes it on the website. Then you have the iconic Crow Sting, or the 90s WCW style Sting. And then we have kind of an updated AEW modern era of Sting in the modern day. And then over here it does say Legacy of Sting again, and then you get that 1 of 6,000 sticker. And I think one of the features here is you can actually individually pull these guys out like this. Yeah, you can actually pull these little cubbies out and then unveil the figures like that, man. So if you want to put these on display like this, you could, and then you get a sick-ass box right there. So this is just incredible, man. And you get this little sleeve deal here. I'm giddy, man. This is unreal. But anyways, man, that's pretty much the packaging you get with this Legacy of Sting pack. But now that we've taken a closer look at the packaging, man, let's take all versions of Sting out, dive into this set, and find out what we're getting here, man. I can't wait any longer. Let's get all 3 versions of Sting out of here. So here's the Legacy of Sting pack completely unboxed, and I'm enjoying myself with this set, man. I think that you have a lot of great things going on here. I don't think it's a perfect set, though. We're going to dive into those things, of course, and break it down, get into the accessories of the pack, break down each individual version of Sting, and take you through the entire Legacy of Sting with this Jazzwares Vault exclusive set, man. But again, I am excited to get into it with you, so without being said, let's get into the accessories you get with the set, and then we'll dive into each iteration of Sting himself. Alright, so getting into the accessories you get with this pack. It's kind of crazy, but this is all you get. You get 3 very high quality cloth good items, no interchangeable hands besides the ones that come stock on the figure, and no interchangeable heads, even though every AEW Unrivaled and Unmatched figure, every AEW figure has interchangeable heads. It doesn't come with any options, if that makes sense. You could rotate them amongst themselves, but there is no extra head sculpts, no screaming sculpts, etc. to go on these figures. Now, what you do get is 3 really high quality jackets, and this is the first one here that comes on the, what they're dubbing the Superstar Sting, or the Surfer version of the Sting with the flat top blonde hair. And this is impeccable, man. Look at the iridescence, the glitter coming through on the underneath. You have the collar wrapping around, you get this dark bluish iridescent black going around, and on the back you have the same thing. No logos or anything, but you do get the black tassels underneath the sleeves there, and it fits the figure well as you saw originally. But let's zoom in here so you can see all that glitter and stuff going on, and I'm unsure if it's going to stain. You know, you never can, you know, I'm not holding my breath on it. It's just unfortunately one of those things that you're going to have to either play with, and I don't really know if you could, I don't know if you can soak this in soap and water and get the staining out of an item like this. I don't know how that works, okay? I'm not some fabric connoisseur in that way, but I do know how to get them out of a standard t-shirt. I just don't know if this method would work on a jacket like this, but this is still insane quality. I know you don't get hands, you don't get heads, or a bat even in this pack, which is crazy, but this jacket is absurd. And then for our 90s Sting, as they're calling it, or our WCW Crow beautiful looking Sting, we do have this black and silver trench coat duster jacket that is absolutely incredible. It is massive. It fits the figure great. You have these sculpted, not sculpted, but these layered sleeves here. It reminds me a lot of the Supreme jacket, if you guys remember that, but there's no, printed on stuff. There's no logos or anything, but dadgum, it looks good on the figure. And you guys will see in the photography at the end of the video how well it looks on there in the arena underneath the lights and stuff. And I do apologize for any lighting issues throughout this video, as if you have a bunch of black or a bunch of dark colors on the screen with the the bright lights of the filming area, you do get some different exposure and contrast problems sometimes, so it may shift in and out on you, but this duster is incredible, and it looks insane on every version of Sting that you can imagine, and we're going to get into the comparisons, but I really do love this duster. This is a very impressive piece. And last but not least, we have kind of our Wolverine Puffer Letterman jacket style Sting here. You have the black leather or pleather, you have the collar going around. I like the little zipper there. It's not real, but it's printed on, and then you have this yellowing underneath there that looks high quality, but it doesn't hinder any articulation, but on the back you do get Sting with the bats and the scorpion. Dude, what an impressive jacket. I mean, every piece of cloth goods in this entire deal just looks great, and it feels great, high quality. I think this is from Forbidden Door 2023, if I'm not mistaken, so this is our kind of modern version of Sting, which I do like, but man, again, you don't get a ton of accessories, but at least the accessories you get in this pack are really high quality, and they really, I don't know, it just fits well. The packaging is supreme, and then you have this really high quality cloth goods, so I dig this, man, and the jacket is superb. I may have to buy another one of these sets just for extra goods, for fix-ups and different looks of Sting for the shelf. So we are starting things off with our Surfer or Superstar Sting version here with the blonde flat top, and I think this is a repeat head sculpt. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is a repeat of that screaming expression we got on the Luminaries collection Sting. I don't have it in my hand to compare, but I think it's just repainted, right? And I don't have the Chase version of that Luminaries collection, which I really do need to track down, but I think it's high quality. I do like the shape of it. I think it looks good. The black and white face paint on there, and then this is the same build of the Luminaries collection. White wrist tape, white finger tape on this side, none on the left side there, and then he does have the same sculpts. All this sculpt is the same as the Luminaries collection, except it is in black and white instead of the blue and white, which I do like, man. The Scorpion decal looks good. I know it's plain gear, but I love it. I think it looks sweet. So you go down, you have those same nice sculpted boots here in the black, which look good with the glossy paint, and dude, I just like this, man. The Luminaries collection Sting, the white and blue one, is one of my favorite AEW figures. I think it's so damn good. But one of the things I really love about the Luminaries collection Sting is the articulation. He can look up really well because of that ball hinge that you have right here is nice. The arms go above 90. You're getting full rotation, bicep swivel. He does have pins in the arms, but they are double jointed and they look really good. You have a hinge and swivel at the wrist right here. You got diaphragm pivoting and movement here, then go all the way around. The ab crunch is surprisingly pretty good here, but all AEW figures for the most part can articulate really well in the ab crunch area, which is nice. He is on ball joints and he can kick up about 90 there. Can go out to the side about 90 as well. You're getting upper thigh cut, double jointed knee there. You get the boot cut, and then you have the ankles that move up and down, and you have a decent little ankle pivot, all things considered. But man, this figure just feels really good in the hand. Now, I wish he would have gotten some of those expressive hands, the ones that are like Matt Hardy, that are like this. But I still just, I don't know, man. The figure's just very fun. I don't know. But maybe I'm just a Sting mark. I don't know. And then for your Sting figure comparisons, we have some other Surfer Stings here. On the left, we have that Luminaries Unmatched collection, and I did confirm that the Screaming head sculpt, the interchangeable one that came on this figure, or with this figure, is the exact same head sculpt. It's just painted differently, of course. And then you do the Elite 62 Sting over here, which is jacked, and I still like all these figures in their own way. I think that, while I'm not a big fan of this torso that they used on Sting back in the day, this is a reason why I'd love to see some new Sting. I would prefer these two figures of Sting over this one over here, and I know this one kind of has like a goofy head sculpt anyway, but it is cool for comparison's sake. And you can see here like the height and everything. I mean, they're very similar to scale and everything, but I like the proportions and everything better on the AEW one. And I don't have that Chase figure or the rare figure in the black and silver, so I got to track that one down for Surfer Sting, or Blade Runner Sting, if you will. So got to track that one down, but I still like this figure nonetheless. And now we're getting into my favorite iteration of Sting and the version of Sting that I fell in love with as a kid. And this is our 90s or WCW version of Sting here with this brand new head sculpt, and I think it turned out pretty damn good. The paint apps are pretty clean here. I like the menacing look. I've seen where some people have been getting some misaligned here, and I do have a little bit of white paint there. Not the biggest deal. I can fix it up easily, fix it with some acetone, or I'll fix it up somehow. But I think that the expression expression, the likeness, the paint apps is pretty damn good. I think the sculpt overall is nice. I like it. The hair flowing here. And this look of him specifically reminds me a lot of that book cover, that VHS DVD cover. And I think it was just some Sting documentary. Speaking of which, man, when I was a kid, there was a Sting documentary me and my brother had on VHS, and every Saturday morning, my mom would get us Hardee's breakfast, and then we would just sit up and watch that Sting documentary over and over and over again. And this is what this figure kind of, I don't know, reminds me of here, but going down, we have the exact same formula that you're getting on the first version of Sting. That Surfer Sting in this pack, it's the exact same. The only difference is you're getting different paint apps and a different head sculpt, but this look right here reminds me of this specific cover here with the hair and everything. It just reminds me, even the jacket, it's pretty much identical to that exact look here. But on this figure, again, you are getting black wrist tape, you're getting the gloved hands here, which I think are just painted regular hands, which is kind of disappointing. I would have liked to seen the sculpted glove hands instead of painted hands. But then you get this glossy paint on these legs, and again, it is the exact same legs, crotch, everything. And you may be able to tell, but there are the, you know, the pads that he used to wear on his legs and everything, the gear or the body pads or the leg pads here, they're like a shiny blue color, but you can't really tell here. I feel like off black or something would have worked as well, but maybe it was navy blue and you just couldn't tell. But there is some navy blue paint in gloss going over the top that's really hard to tell. And then you go down, it's the same black boots as before on the other Sting. But, you know, we really have not seen a version of Sting like this in a very long time in figure form outside of a basic from Mattel. We had the Defining Moments Elite. As a modern WCW representation of Sting, this is the closest thing we've had in a very long time, which is why people are so excited. But he can look down pretty good. He can't look up as far because of the hair in the back, of course. But then all the other articulation is going to be the exact same as the last Sting because, again, they are on the exact same body mold and everything. And I just love the build of this figure. I like how he doesn't have, he's not skinny, you know. Sting was pretty muscular. He looked great. He was in great shape. And this figure is a great representation of that. I don't know if you're getting, you know, some of these other things in terms of the pads and stuff. It's hard to make out. But figure moves well, feels great in hand. And I knew that this would be great because it's on that Luminaries Collection body, so I know what to expect out of it. I know how it's going to pose. It feels good in hand, things like that. So that's why I was, not only is it a look of Sting I've wanted forever in modern figure form, I know what to expect out of that because the figure feels great in hand. But let's get into some figure comparisons with this thing. So for your Sting figure comparisons with this figure specifically, we do have it among some other WCW 90s style Stings in my collection. We do have this new Ultimate Edition I just made recently that you'll see on an upcoming surgery, so you guys can stay tuned for that if you want to know how I made this. You will be able to see that, but I'm really pumped up by the way that one turned out. Then we have my other custom Ultimate Edition Sting that me and BEW created together, which is really fun. It's got interchangeable jacket arms and things. And then we do have the ringside exclusive Wolfpack Sting, and then we do have the Defining Moment Sting with an AEW Supreme jacket on it just for shishes and gigs. And I think this one fits in pretty well, man. I love it. I think that it looks really great. And as far as, you know, Stings in this era, this is probably one of my favorite ones. I really do love the Ultimate Edition fix-up here because it has the longer hair. And that's why I like this one, because it has the longer hair. I also love the Wolfpack, but I feel like Mattel just made him too small, even though I still love that figure a lot. And I don't know, man. I just really enjoy these figures specifically in my collection. They look incredible, and I'm so excited to add another version of Sting here. But some different things I want to do with this figure. I mean, I do want to put the jacket on it here so you guys can see what it looks like amongst these other figures with the jacket on. So here's the figure with the jacket on there. You can see that. And then the fact that he doesn't come with a bat is crazy, man. But I do have an extra bat here from another Sting figure, and we can put this in his hand so you guys can see that if you want to see what he looks like with a bat. And of course, we're going to have photography at the end. We'll experiment with the figure, see what he's like. You can't even really see the bat because of the darkness and stuff, but still looks cool nonetheless. And then I also want to try head swapping this guy with the Supreme. I know a lot of people are going to want to do this. Here's my Supreme Sting with the jacket and the World Heavyweight Championship, but I don't think the skin tones necessarily match. But since you're just putting the head sculpt on there, I mean, this works pretty good. That's pretty daggum good right there. Of course, you know, this sculpt is more of an older man Sting, but, you know, if you took the jacket off, you want to see what it looks like without the jacket and stuff, just to, you know, you want to play around with it here, see what it looks like, and then I'll pull off the World Heavyweight Championship just so you can see exactly what you're getting here if you wanted to make this guy into a Supreme Sting or whatever. I don't think it looks bad, but it's still, you know, it's not as muscular probably as you would like, but it doesn't look bad. You know, that's a nice little fix up here for Sting. And then another thing I wanted to do was I was going to try to swap the waist here with this one to see if you could put the lower body of this onto here. I don't know if this is going to work. I feel like this top part's a little too pudgy. Yeah, it's not going to pop in there, unfortunately. Hate to see it. But you could see what I was going for there. It's not going to work, though. It won't plug into that. So, yeah, you hate to see that, unfortunately. And then if you wanted to pop this onto the Supreme, I mean, I guess you could do that, but you're going to get some gappage and stuff, and it's really loose. So, I mean, I guess it would maybe work for some, you know, if you're just messing around with photography or just a display option for you, you may could get away with that, but I think I prefer the original way that it was, and it just makes them short, so probably not something you want to do there, but yeah, I wanted to attempt it, you know, just see what it looks like for you. And then one last thing I want to do is put the Supreme jacket onto this version, just to kind of see what that looks like as well, if you guys want to play around with that. This also looks pretty damn good, man, so I don't think you're going to go wrong with that if you want to put the Supreme jacket on this new 3-pack Sting. Look at that right there. That's not half bad either. So you have a bunch of different options here for the Sting, but I'm really enjoying it. Having a lot of fun seeing how he mingles among the rest of our Sting collection. And then for one last Sting comparison, we do have the AEW 3-pack Sting up next to the WWE Mattel Elite Hulk Hogan 3-pack figure. So this is pretty cool to see these up next to each other. And again, we'll do some photography. We'll do some cool things at the end so you guys can kind of see how it mingles among different figures and things like that. We'll see. So always stay tuned for the photography, man. It's the best part of the video in my opinion. But that does it for your Sting figure comparisons. And now we're diving into the last version of Sting in this pack, which is going to be the Icon Sting, or the modern iteration of Sting the character. And out of the three, this is the one that I'm probably the least excited for, just because Jazzwares and AEW has put out so many different modern versions of Sting with different shirts, or, you know, giving us the same long sleeve tee and things. And I know that's how he's been represented on TV, so it makes sense, but the other two are a lot more exciting because we've gotten less of them, I guess. But I do like this face paint. I think it looks really, really good. I think the likeness is good. I think this is the same head sculpt we've gotten multiple times, but to be fair, that head sculpt's so damn good. It makes sense to redo it over and over again because the likeness is so good, and Sting's hardly doing anything else other than keeping that straight, blank expression. It's what he made his money off of, right? But all of this looks really good. I think this looks great. I don't have any issues with that. The hair looks good. The sculpt looks good. And then we're getting the Sting graphic, or the Scorpion on the, you know, really big on front. We've seen this long sleeve sculpt and stuff. And it looks good. I mean, you got the baggy sleeves. You have the long sleeve sweater shirt there. The graphic does get cut off by the ab crunch, but, you know, this torso doesn't really have ab crunch, to be honest with you, but it is cut there. Then you do have the Sting gloves, which I wish we got on the other Sting. Even if they would have done a different print or left them black, I just like the sculpt of it better than just painted hands, if that makes sense. But again, it's just a painted version of that Luminaries collection. But then we get these new legs here with the weird crotch, because the long sleeve shirt's supposed to go over the, you know, it goes over his waistline. It's not tucked in, so that's why you get this weird looking crotch deal. But then you do have the cargo pants on here in black, kind of a Roman Reigns look, I guess, if you will. But they go down in here, which it does have a calf cut, which I do appreciate. And then he just has some black sneakers, which I don't remember what he was wearing, but they almost look kind of Jordan 11-esque, sort of, with the sculpt. But I'm pretty sure he was just wearing some regular trainers or something, and I'll try my best to kind of figure out what he was wearing. But as far as articulation, he can look down really, really good. He can look up a little bit there before his head pops off, but I do like that ball hinge. Arms go above 90, full swivel there. We have seen this sculpt so many times before up top, so we know what to expect. Double jointed arms here. You get the hinge and swivel in the wrist, of course. You do get some diaphragm spinning here. Not a ton of waist cut, but you can spin it a little bit there. And the ab crunch is pretty much non-existent. If you try to fold him over, he is going to, you know, pop off there at the waist. But he can kick up maybe not quite 90 there, but a little less than 90. He can go out a little less than 90 as well, but you also get a beautiful double jointed knee. You get thigh cut and you get calf cut, which is always appreciated. Ankles go down and up, and you do have a, I don't know, does he have ankle pivot? I don't know if he has ankle pivot, man. These kind of feel like basic boots, but they don't feel loose, so that's pretty good there. But anyways, man, that is your Sting articulation. Let's take a look at some Sting figure comparisons with our old man or icon version of Sting in the modern day. So for your Sting figure comparisons, here is a few different Stings that we have seen. Pretty much, I mean, almost identical. You are getting a better lower leg mold here, or a more accurate or longer pants. Different pants, right? It's not the same tights that we've come to know from the Sting figures, but from left to right, you have the Amazon 2-pack Sting, the Walmart exclusive Luminaries Collection Unmatched Series 2, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 2023 Sting, the AEW Supreme Sting. I think this is just a head swap with that Walmart figure from back in the day. Then you have the ringside exclusive Jack the Ripper Sting. But even here, this doesn't include the Shop AEW exclusive Sting, the ringside exclusive Ring Sting with the Screaming Head sculpt, the Target exclusive Revolution pay-per-view edition Sting that just came out with the chip face paint. And I want to say there's one more that I'm missing in terms of modern Stings. So there is a lot, man. Tons of modern renditions of Sting, and this is what I'm saying when this figure is probably the least exciting one because, you know, I'm not even talking about the chases. There's a couple chases out there, I think, that is just a change in shirt graphics. So this is what I'm saying when I'm saying this figure is not as exciting because we've had so many damn modern Stings. However, I do want to take a look at some Darby Allins, and for your Darby Allins, I think this is the Walmart exclusive, or at least it's the Walmart exclusive lower half, I know, because it has Sting imprinted on the shorts. And then this one is the most recent unmatched version, so if you want to get in some comparisons there, just to see Darby up next to this new Sting, and again, we'll do some photography, but that is your modern icon version of Sting from this Legacy of Sting 3-pack. But I believe that about wraps up the Legacy of Sting 1 of 6,000's Jazzwares Vault exclusive Unrivaled set, man. I really do like this set in a lot of ways. I like all three versions of the figure. I think for the price point, $100, I was wrong. In the intro of the video, I did say that I believed it was sold out. That is not the case. It's still available for $100. Now, will this thing sell out? I'm not entirely sure, but I do like it. You know, as a big Sting fan, I'm obviously going to be, you know, buying one and keeping it and everything like that. I was excited for this set. It was one of my favorite reveals from last year and a set that I have been highly anticipating all year. I've said it a bunch of times, but I can't understand some people's hesitancies when they are dealing with this pack because there's no interchangeable hands, there's no bats, there's no interchangeable heads. It is legitimately 3 base figures and then you get 3 cloth goods. Now, is the packaging exceptional? Yes, it is, but a lot of people, maybe they don't give a damn about the packaging, you know what I mean? Some people do not care about packaging whatsoever, but you do get 3 really quality jackets, man. All 3 of those jackets are really insane. They really are really up to par. I think all of them look fantastic. You can do some cool fix-ups and stuff, and I know one of these figures it does have a new leg mold. You do have the newer Sting leg mold right there. You know, it's not the same exact Sting legs that we've come to know. And then the other 2 figures share the exact same body from the neck down, and you don't get a lot of colors, right? It's all black and white and stuff. So I can understand maybe your hesitancy here, but it is exclusive. It is a deluxe box set. You do get a lot of great cloth goods, and you get 3 Unrivaled figures. You know, if each Unrivaled figure is $20 or whatever, that's $60. Throw in the over-the-top packaging and exclusivity, include the cloth goods. I mean, I'm there with you. I can understand that, but for me, as a big Sting guy, I think that the set is very damn good. I love it. I think it's very enjoyable. I'm enjoying all 3 figures in their own way. I really was a big fan of the Luminaries collection Sting as well, but a ton of fun to shoot as a big Sting fan. It just was a ton of fun just going through and photographing the figure and just having fun posing it around and doing the comparisons and getting some different shots. It was epic, man. I really did enjoy it, and I hope that does shine through in the video itself. But if you guys want to grab this figure set, you can do so over at Jazzwares Vault. It is a Jazzwares Vault exclusive, 1 of 6,000 pieces, so get it while it is still in stock, but it is going to run you $100 there. I think it's about $110, $120 after shipping and taxes, so you will have to get in on that, man. But that about does it for me and this review here. As tonight, at the time of recording this, here in about 12 plus hours or so, San Diego Comic-Con preview night will be beginning, so you guys can see that later on tonight. We'll be doing a full coverage video. I also have a video dropping right at 6 p.m. as preview night opens, and then I'll also be uploading a preview night coverage, and I'm thinking about doing a top 10 figure reveals from preview night just as a little bonus on Thursday. So, and then of course we have the day 2, we have the just different content that'll be coming to the channel, so stay tuned for that, man. But I'm getting the hell out, man. I hope you guys did enjoy. I'd love to know your thoughts on the Sting pack, but this set officially gets my stamp of approval, and I may grab another one, who knows. But a huge shout out to our Patreon members, man. Thank you guys so very much for your continued support as always. You guys are unbelievable. I appreciate you so very much, but I'm getting the hell out of here, man. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.